You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest. Your mind is clearer than before. Your heart is full and wanting more. Your future's at the door. Give it all you got. No hesitating. You've been waiting all your life. This is your moment.
Hello all you hardcore boxing fans out there, how are you doing? Big Porky here, the voice of hardcore boxing, and I hope you've subscribed as well, or I'll be coming to pay you a visit.
I'm Peter Fury, and don't forget to subscribe to Porky's Corner, because I've been a helmet of the month and you need to listen to me. Yeah? So follow him, yeah? And get the fella some followers up, for Christ's sake. He wears his heart on his sleeves, the good man Russ. So follow Porky's Corner, he says it as it is, and you know, I appreciate the helmet of the month, Russ. No problem.
No problem, thank you very much.
You're welcome, mate.
Every once in a while, in the sport of boxing, a person comes along who totally blags his way to a few quid and celebrity status. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you DOMINIC INGLE, aka the White Flex Wheeler, or as he's known in boxing circles in my area of South Yorkshire, Flex. Now Flex hasn't always been called Flex, as not so long ago it was known as, who's the skinny ginger cunt with a shred of wheat on his head who's always rubbing Nassim Ahmed's ego, and that were Flex. Now, but one day Flex decided to man up and was, as he was fed up of being Mr. Puniverse, and wanted to sow his wild oats, so he had an amateur fight, just the one, and was hit on the nose. No blood came out, but he dived on the floor inside the first 40 seconds, and he said 6 words looking through the bottom rope to his dad. Dad, get me out of here. So DOMINIC INGLE, aka the White Flex Wheeler, amateur career 0-1. So, game over. Everybody's got a game plan till they get hit, Mike Tyson once said. So with the boxing out of the window, the ginger Mr. Puniverse went back to the drawing board. And so what he did then, he just decided to read a few books, and there were no internet in them days, so he'd probably be sat at home reading a book on how to build his arms big. Get big arms inside 28 days. You know that book that they used to sell years ago? well, he had all books under bed, didn't he? Flex, Men's Health, you name it, he had it. All piled up under his bed. Now most people would have Fiesta, Park Lane and Razzle, wouldn't they? But not our Flex. So what does Dominic do then, or Flex? He goes out into the big wide world, walks about half a mile into Meadowhall, and gets a job at Sainsbury's as a security guard. Now, if he denies this, he'll be embarrassed, because he knows he was the security guard at Sainsbury's, but they're not going to tell you this, are they? Sadly, he lasted 5 days. So here we've got a man on a real mission now. He's puny with a ginger bonce that's losing 100 hairs a day, and he's surrounded by all these Neanderthal lions in the gym. Brian Anderson, Bomber Graham, Ryan Rhodes, Nazim Ahmed, Johnny Nelson, although when Johnny started up there you couldn't really call him a lion, could you? More like Bambi. But you've got all these testosterone in the gym, and you've got Flex there who don't like getting hit, but talks a good game. So what next for Flex? Well, I know, he's thought, I'm going to be a bodybuilder, I'm going to build bodies. And no one will ever again be able to refer to me as the ginger cunt hanging around Bomber Graham. Enter the world of spinach, as it's known in the trade. As if it's... So Flex has thought, well, if I get all my spinach down me like Popeye, I could turn into the quad father, Tom Platts. If it's good enough for Tom, it's good enough for me. So on he went, building his body up. So the white Flex Wheeler was born then in orange Speedos, probably from Sainsbury's with his 10% discount card. Forward 20 years on from the training camp where he totally ruined Nazim Ahmed for his fight with Barrera. We all know that, don't we? Nazim Ahmed will tell you that if you ask him. Which handed Nazim Ahmed his only loss. See what I mean, Ben Davidson, about there's no shortcuts to success. Even Flex thought he could jump straight in with Naz and make a name for himself, didn't you, Flex? There's no shortcuts. Learn your craft as a trainer. I'm not saying Flex doesn't know boxing, but training Naz don't make you a world-class trainer, as Naz was already a superstar then. So Flex can't bitch about John Fuchs or Ben Davidson training top elite guys, can he, like Kell Brook and Tyson Fury and Billy Joe. You know, Flex tried it himself. He tried to jump in with Naz, didn't he? And, we know what happened, don't we? They had to bring Manny Stewart in, didn't they, with a week to go. But by that stage, Flex had had hold of Naz for 10 weeks and it was too late. Other fighters come and went, didn't they? Junior Witter, he came and went. He never got the Atten fight. Brook came and went. And came and went again after going from Ingles to Colwell to Ingles to John Fuchs back to Ingles. But Witter never got the Atten fight and Brook never got the Khan fight. But was served up to Triple G and Spence on a plate. So do we see a pattern here? Don't forget the trainers in somebody's ear all the time. Whatever Junior Witter were doing and saying to get the Hatton fight, it didn't work, didn't it? Closest person to him was Flex. Whatever Kell Brook's been saying for the last 9 years, and let me tell you, is it 9 year, 10 year? For the last 9-10 year, Kell Brook, whatever he's been saying about Amir Khan, somebody's been in his ear. It hasn't worked, has it? I call it feathering the nest. Or I'm alright Jack. It's the I'm alright Jack syndrome, innit? It's basically pimping. There's Pimp Daddy, isn't there? And there's Pimp Dominic. Now, so I have a bit of a problem with the fact that this man, there's a trainer, a manager, and after 3 of his boxers he trains have now failed PED tests. We know who they are, we're not going to name them, but we know who they are. What if a fourth fighter fails? Then what's going to happen then? What is the cut-off point? Is it 5 failures? Or is it 6 or 8 or even 9? How about 9 lives? How about somebody getting maimed or, touch wood, what if somebody dies? Would Dominic Ingle, the white Flex Wheeler, lose his board licence then if somebody died or his opponent boxed? Would it take a death? I think it probably would, but I don't know. Boxing's rooted in that much lies and deceit and twisting. I don't know what to believe anymore, and this is why I've decided to do what I'm doing now. Will Dominic Ingle be investigated if somebody dies? I don't know, but we're talking about a man here that has had 3 tests and his fighters have failed. And how many Ingle fighters over years have been on PADs that we don't know about? How many tests have they failed that we don't know about as well? Did you know that trainers who go up against this cheat don't respect him? My phone's red hot all the time. He's not respected. As how can any boxer or team go home after a loss to an Ingle fighter from now on and say the better man won tonight. They can't, can they? But people need pain, don't they? Fighters, and they're not going to go out and get a job, are they? Dominic Ingle's seen lifestyle that fighters have got, hasn't he? He didn't want to get a job, did he? Well, he did, didn't he? He lasted 5 days at Sainsbury's, walking about puffing his puny chest out at the time. So what are the British Boxing Board going to do about this? What are you going to do about it, Robert Smith? Hey, what are you going to do about it, Charlie? Mine's a double whiskey Giles. What are you going to do about it? Make sure you put a slice of green lime in that as well, Russ. Not yellow lime, green. So no one seems to want to talk about the doping situation. As we've got a trainer here who, for starters, not so many years ago, was walking about with a ginger comb over on his head, 12 stone wet through, if that. Yet all of a sudden, he's looking like a bald Nasser Al Sambati. Do you know what I mean? In a tight t-shirt. And talking like he's Angelo Dundee. He's never boxed. But Angelo Dundee had never boxed. But Angelo D, the proof in the pudding, wasn't it? Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. Flex has never boxed, has he? Well, if you call 40 seconds in his first amateur fight, yeah, but other than that, he ain't boxed, has he? He's been around boxing. This is where people get confused. They think because they're around it, they know everything about it. I'm the same, but I've not got people's lives in my hands, have I? He's got his fighters' lives in his hands, and their opponents are in his hands as well, because whatever's going on up there, he needs to stop, doesn't it? It needs totally investigating up there, but nobody's saying anything, are they? Nobody's saying a word. So, and like I said, he never had a fight in his life. Yeah, he's got a say on young kids in area, but when we scratch the surface, well, he's just feathering his nest, like I said earlier, while laughing at the system and baffling us all with this science about eat this and do that and eat your greens and eat radish and all that. It's all a load of knackers. He's laughing at the system, baffling us with science, while talking on YouTube about eating all this spinach like Popeye and singing songs on his guitar to Michelle Phelps. The man is totally out of touch with reality. It's not about the trainer, it's about the fighter. While the media don't pull him up on any of this, do they? Why aren't the media saying to him, Dominic, 3 of your fighters have failed tests, is there any more that we don't know about? Nobody is saying a word, but yet fighters are going to that gym and all of a sudden performing out of the skin, mentioning no names. Yes, the media will whisper about it, but could you seriously see Rob Tebbett, Coogan Cassius, Trish Dixon, Bob Westerdale, Michelle Phelps, Gareth A. Davis and all the rest of them, could you actually see them mentioning this to Dominic Ingle? No, they're not going to mention it, are they? Because they've all got their own agendas. They can't stand on the 2 feet just like me and other people who are looking at it from outside. I can stand on my own 2 feet. These can't. What are they going to do? You've seen them all squirming in the last few weeks for content, haven't you? No, they won't ask the real questions, and as they are all not bothered. But when someone dies, again in boxing, they will all pretend they are gutted and they'll have a whip round for a certain fight, and then 14 days later, it's all forgot about them making fights with PED cheats. That's the nature of the beast. They may well be gutted, but the problem is in front of their eyes. But like I said, Dominic Ingle's never had a fight in his life, but he's running amok while feathering his nest. Which brings me to Kell Brook versus Triple G. What sort of trainer puts a welterweight, world champion, undefeated, in with a killer middleweight not long after a life and death with Carson Jones? Could you imagine Paulie Malignaggi going up against Jermaine Taylor at middleweight, and Jermaine Taylor with no Golovkin, or Lloyd Hunnigan getting in with Marvin Hagler? Can you remember when Lloyd Hunnigan was champion and Marvin Hagler was champion of his weight division? What would we have all said if Mickey Duff would have put Lloyd Hunnigan in with Marvin Hagler? What would we have all said? Come on, all you hardcores, all you gimps from Gimpville Island. What we said, or how about Adrian Broner against Canelo? What if that were made? 4-weight champion Broner against Canelo at 160. All these are the same 147 guys against 160 champions. Champions versus champions fighting each other. So why did DOMINIC INGLE allow Kell Brook to get in with Triple G, who's got the best record of all time at middleweight, best record ever for knockouts, for defences? Why would you do that and stand there with holding title in your hand from round 3 onwards? Do you know what I mean? We're talking about a guy here that's equalled Hopkins' record, but he's got more knockouts than Hopkins, hasn't he, in world title fights? We were told, Kell Brook, by DOMINIC INGLE, oh, he's like a super middleweight, he's a beast at the weight. And what they did, they drowned out everybody. And the casuals all bought it, didn't they? They drowned everybody out. And let me tell you this. I care for boxers, me. I may hammer them when they talk crap, but I care for boxing. Right? And I care for the boxers. They're in the ring, they're the men. Anybody who's ever put a pair of gloves on, they're the real men, right? We know what DOMINIC INGLE happened to him when he put gloves on and headgear. He jumped on the floor after 40 seconds, don't we? He knows what it's like to get hit, doesn't he? Now, he only got a little tap on the nose now. Kell Brook, right, could have been our Terry Norris. An exceptional talent at 147. They put him in with a killer at 160. 2 weight divisions. Come on. We were all drowned out, weren't we? The people in the boxing industry, the old school guys, and we know what I'm talking about, don't we? Your Frank Warrens, your Bunsers, Steve Bunce, people like that, Colin Hart. They all knew what was going on. I knew what was going on. Dennis Hobson knew what was going on. People in Ingle Gym knew what was going on. And Barry Hearn and Eddie Hearn really knew what was going on as well. Right? But it was time for them to say, do you know what? We're never going to get the Khan fight, and we're going to get our investment back off Kell Brook. And they all allowed it to happen. Now, people aren't going to talk about this at the moment because Kell Brook's not retired. But do you know when Kell Brook retires? Mark my words, he's going to come out and he's going to talk about what all that. It'll all come out in the wash. So, just like it always does. So, remember this video. Everybody were drowned out. He's a beast at the weight. You know, there were calls from me and other people, Boxing Asylum, all them sort of people, Terry Chappendama, Rico. Everybody was saying, this fight is awful. Cancel this fight. But the narrative seemed to be that if you can get on IFL and get your point across, everyone thinks it's real. If you get on IFL and you get on Sky, the big platforms, you get your point across and you'll drown everybody out, just like Eddie Hearn. That's what Eddie Hearn's doing now. What he's doing is drowning everybody out. He's on IFL all day and night. He's in his bedroom at home doing videos while his missus is downstairs watching telly with kids, probably filing her nails down and thinking, what am I doing with this melt? But Eddie's out there on IFL all day, drowning everybody out at the moment, and that's what they did with this fight, and it watered down what it really were. But like I said, people in the industry all knew what was going to happen. I know people that made fortunes on it. I made a few quid on it. I'm not proud of that fact, but we all know what was going to happen. Everybody in the industry knew what was going to happen. They all knew what was going on. Ingle Jim knew, DOMINIC INGLE knew, and Brendan Ingle knew. They all knew. Everybody in Sheffield knew what was going to happen. But they sold the narrative that if you lose to Triple G, he's an all-time great. But you get a pay-per-view, and you've still got your belt to fight in a pay-per-view at Bramall Lane next time out. So they got 2 for the price of 1, didn't they? But what did Kell Brook got? He got a shattered eye socket, pulled out, totally embarrassed. And the other eye socket were half shattered. And when he went for fight for that against Spence, Errol Spence finished it off, and he's got a better KO ratio than Golovkin, hasn't he, if you go on BoxRec. So they put him in with 2 killers on the trot, and that were it then. He was finished. So everyone ate at the same table like savages, gnawing at the bones off a fighter. It was just like gnawing a bone in KFC, wasn't it? After being out on a Saturday night on an all-day booze bender. But the harsh reality was an undefeated welterweight kid in his prime of his life, who dedicated his life to boxing for about 18 years at the time. He was finished after that fight with a shattered eye socket and the other one half fractured. So when he had to drain back down 2 weight divisions to fight a massive puncher and a southpaw as well, and a future Hall of Famer, and everybody's top 5, top 6 pound for pound at the moment, the game were up, wasn't it? And he quit, and he turned away and quit. Not that he were bottleless, because he trained hard and he fought gallantly, but he took punishment, and because he'd had to drain down in weight, he had no in tank when he got to end it fight. There was nothing there, nothing in him. That's because his weight he'd lost. 1 minute they're telling him he's a super middle, but you'll do middle, but you're really a super middle. But then they've got him fighting down at welter. We were told he'll never fight at welter again. He's really a middle, a stroke super middle. He sparred Carl Froch, so was Golovkin, blah de blah. They were sold that narrative, weren't they? But look how it's ended up for poor Kell Brook. I know he gets a load of stick, but let's have it right. Let's all think about Kell Brook, because he were going places when he beat Sean Porter, wasn't he? So in my opinion, Kell basically had mental issues when he fought Spence, but I blame DOMINIC INGLE for this. I don't blame Kell Brook's stepdad, Terry. I blame DOMINIC INGLE. He's the trainer. He's the man that's had his ear all 18 years. He's the man whispering in his ear constantly. Don't forget, if you're getting his 10%. There's no flies on DOMINIC, is there? But like I said, there's people like this, they slink in and out to boxing and they slink out, don't they? And then when the fighters use and abuse, they just go on to the next one, don't they? But, you know, this is how I look at it. Kamikaze matchmaking. That's all it were. Kamikaze matchmaking. But what can you do? It's that's boxing for you, isn't it? It's just how it goes, isn't it? But point I'm trying to make is this, and I know you're watching this, Flex. You've had 3 drug test failures with 3 of your fighters. That we know about. Why have you got a board licence? Why have you got a board licence? Why are you an expert all of a sudden on nutrition and boxing and all that? You should be ashamed of yourself, and I'm calling for Boxing Board of Control to investigate you and find out what's going on up there. Because it's been wanting saying for years. You need looking at, mate. If anybody's got a problem, get my number off Dennis Hobson or Richard Towers. Get my number and give me a ring. Come on channel if you've got a problem. You should be ashamed of yourself, mate. You should be ashamed of yourself. So that's about it, really. Nothing will happen. The board are weak, and DOMINIC INGLE, 12 months from now, will be on to a new bunch of fighters, and nothing will be said. The YouTubers who all get access, they'll not mention it. Gareth A. Davis won't mention it. None of them will mention a Dickie Bird to it. Not Bob Westerdale, Coogan, Cassius, Rob Tebbert. None of them will mention a Dickie Bird about what's going on up there. None of them. What it will take is a death in the ring with an Ingle fighter punching holes in somebody, some poor sod who's clean as a whistle, and he'll probably die in the ring. Touch wood, it don't happen. That's what it'll take, and then I think the board will still be weak. But that's boxing for you, innit? That's boxing. I'm hoping to make a change, but we're going to see, aren't we? So peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep supporting boxing. Pick up the phone, Flex. Call me collect if you want. Peace out. Oh, and let me just say this. What it wants, right, if DOMINIC INGLE ever does get done for any of this, because it all comes out in wash, won't it? It'll all come out in wash. He needs padding up in prison, right? I'm calling for prison sentences for people who are in charge of doping. You know, like Victor Conte, you know, who Andre Ward trained with. I'm calling for prison sentences, not for him to turn like Victor Conte. you know, turned state and ended up working for government and nailing people. I'm talking heavy jail time for people who were giving boxers stuff that they don't know about. Well, nobody's saying that Dominic's been giving boxers anything, but the responsibility surely to God has to lie with the trainers from now on, doesn't it? It's got to lie with the trainers, surely. If people are failing drug tests in your gym, something's got to happen. They can't keep coming out with all this, oh well, it was this, it was that, and I didn't know about it, and when they go home at night, blah blah blah. Somebody's got to take responsibility to what's going on. Now, if that were my gym, I'd be testing them non-stop. If that were my gym, somebody's got to take responsibility. And if Dominic Ingle is guilty, and he's putting in a prison cell with purple Aki, that's what he needs. And he needs to be padded up with the purple one. So peace out, keep on trucking. If Dominic Ingle was in charge of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, and he was sat on stage at the end of these group sessions that I used to go to, and I was sat there with my mum, who obviously many years ago dragged me to a few of these meetings. So if my mum were there and she said, come on, get down here to that garage in Doncaster. So we walk round to the garage, go in, and you've got Dominic Ingle on the stage there saying don't do this, don't do that, but yet he's snorting cocaine, right, taking a line of heroin, all while stood there with a can of special brew in his hand. Now if that were happening like that, my mother would say, come on, we're going, what will you fetch me here? So what's the difference between that and him strutting around that Ingle gym up there in a tight vest, eh? What's the difference? Now we've already had 3 drug test failures up there, 3, and everybody in the boxing industry knows what's going on. Come on, we all know what's going on. Everybody's turning a blind eye, aren't they? Right, 3 drug test failures up there, right? So he's strutting about the gym and people are taking their kids up there to train, right? Why would you take your kids up there to train with what's going on up there? Like I just said, it's like taking it's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous, isn't it? And teacher stood there in classroom drinking a can of beer, isn't it? Or Narcotics Anonymous and teacher stood there snorting big lines of chong. Do you know what I mean? That's the bottom line. If teacher's going to stand there and snort beak, what good is that? It's going to trigger it. It's going to trigger it, innit? He's walking around that gym, flexing all the time, looking in the mirror, thinking he's Tom Platts. Other people are seeing it. Other young lads see it, and look, people look and they make assumptions, don't they? Right? We know what's going off, don't we? You know what's going off, don't you, Dominic? If you want to take me on, get on the phone and we'll have a debate, Dominic. Don't bottle it. Debate with me. I've got 28 questions here from people, some experts in that field, and dates and times and interviews. It's all here. It's all here. All here waiting for you, Dominic. Call me, collect, get my number off Den. Alright? Peace out, Flex. Keep on flexing because you're doing a great job. You're ruining a generation of kids in an area. Alright? You can't see you doing it, but you slowly are. But you're feathering your nest at the same time. So Dominic Ingle, you should be ashamed.
You like that one, didn't you? Right, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for liking and subscribing. It means a lot to me. Because we're on this journey together, aren't we? So anybody got any ideas for the channel, fire them over to me, porkycorner@mail.com. Alright? Shout out to Innovation Alloys and South Yorkshire Packaging. Alright? Don't forget to subscribe, keep on trucking.